Hey guys, I'm Leona and this is Handicapped and Hot.
How
And
you
this is
doing?
Anthony. Good.
Hi, I'm Anthony, and I'm here on Handicapped and Hot.
We're going to talk about Beyonce today. All right, let's just get right into it. Um, so, you guys know that she has, in the last album, it was called Lemonade. I'm not really into Beyonce like that, but her last album is called Lemonade, and there's a poem in the beginning of one of her videos. And it's really weird. Like in the video, she's all in water and stuff like that. And the words she's reciting is kind of crazy. So we're going to go there now and read a couple of lines from it. So it's called Denial. It's by a woman named Warshan Shire. Um, and, it seems like in the beginning it's probably kind of like just talking about when Jay-Z cheated on her and whatever, and everyone found out. I tried to change, close my mouth more, tried to be soft, prettier, less awake. That all makes sense, about betrayal and, your husband cheating on you and things like that. You may have felt like it was your fault. But then we have she fasted for 60 days. Why are you fasting when your husband cheated on you? And you wore white, abstained from mirrors, abstained from sex. Now it's starting to get weird to me. Slowly did not speak another word. My hair, I grew past my ankles. I slept on a mat on the floor. I swallowed a sword. I levitated. This is all crazy now to me. This is getting very weird. It sounds kind of like that Santeria stuff that people do. I was baptized in a river. I whipped my own back. Asked for dominion at your feet. Who are you talking to right now? Asking for dominion at whose feet? Threw myself into a volcano. It starts to get really crazy. And I was confused. Then it says, I saw the devil. I don't know what that means. And then at the bottom, you can read here, I bathed in bleach, also pretty crazy. Um, and then here, this line I don't even want to read, which is pretty crazy. The holy book has to be the Bible, we assume. And that's what she actually has in the video. She shows like the Bible. And then it says, are you cheating? Are you cheating on me? How does any of that have to do, besides the beginning, have to do with cheating and whatnot? Um, I was pretty confused. What did you think when you heard that, or had you heard it before us talking about it, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, I heard it through uh, other sources, secondary sources. I heard people's reactions and conversations about it, but I never actually listened to it when at the time that it came out.
Mm,
Uh, I hadn't really been listening to Beyonce at that time. To be
yeah.
honest, I have in the past, but like I said, not then. But to me, it's not surprising, and I'm sure a lot of people just see it as artistic, but you know,
I was very surprised, especially when I heard that. I think the third to last line, I was disgusted and shocked and just like, where would that even come from? And then I looked into it and I realized that she didn't write those lyrics, that it was a poem by someone else. But then I'm like, well, why would you find that poem and then recite it and like act it out in a video? Like,
mm,
it was crazy. I was definitely surprised, even though I'm similar to you. I don't really rock with Beyonce ever since I call it she got turned out.
mm,
Probably, I don't know, probably around like 20 years ago, 18 years ago. I feel like that's when she started shifting with that crazy in love and all that stuff. And she just started acting crazy in her videos and wild dancing, looking like a crazy person. But I really didn't expect that because I heard the songs, like whatever songs that were on the radio, they didn't play that poem. So when I forgot when I heard it, but maybe like the video like auto played or something on YouTube or whatever, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And then I recognized her voice, and then I was like, this is weird. And then as of late, there've been some videos circulating about this this poem. And I think a lot of people don't even know that it's a poem that she's reciting, but I don't know. It sounds pretty crazy and evil and ritualistic.
Yeah, I wasn't aware it was a poem until, you know, I looked into it. Um, and the fact that it's written by somebody else, to me, it doesn't really make it less significant. You know, she's still her own artist, and she's definitely at a point in her career where she has enough control over what she wants to put out, and obviously that's something that she wanted to do. You know.
Yeah. It doesn't really, like, I guess, have an effect on, like, it's not as bad because she didn't write it for me, but it's just like kind of worse that you didn't write it and you looked for that and then found it and then still decided to put it out there, like as if she could have even put like the first part in there. It still would have been rough, but like not that bad. Because like
Mm.
if you know what I'm saying, you recited like nasty, weird stuff that is just like, what are you talking about? I don't know. I just find it for Christians and believers and like religious people, like and if you, because a lot of people they play these things on YouTube and stuff, so that poem and video comes up. So I can see if you're just listening to the songs on the radio or whatever, that doesn't come up. But when you're clicking and playing that stuff and then you see it, like I don't know, maybe some people just don't know what some of the stuff she's saying means. But like you gotta understand, like some of that stuff is just wrong and evil, and you shouldn't be listening to it.
I mean, yeah, it definitely comes with perspective, and it's all about what you know, what you choose to believe and subscribe to. Um, but I mean, you made a interesting statement. You said it's not really for Christians or believers, and you know, I don't think her music was ever meant to be for that. So, you know, what makes you say that in the first place? You know.
Oh, there's a lot of Christians that listen to her and recite all her lyrics, and they know the you know the dance moves and stuff. And I get it; it's catchy. Even Cuff It. So that song came out. I'm sure you've heard something of the song, whether you know all the lyrics or not. But there was like the Cuff It challenge where everybody was doing that dance, and it's so that song's very it's very like catchy. So I'm like, oh, this song's hot, and I'm listening, and so first it's called Cuff It, so it sounds like you're getting together with somebody, getting you're getting into a relationship for the slang people who don't understand that, for the people who don't understand that slang.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, this is cute, getting booed up, whatever. And she's married, so you're like, oh, you already know she's married, but maybe she's like, still trying to be dating her husband. Cool. But
Mhm.
then, like, you start listening. First of all, they say, she wants to roll up. The roll up can be like show up, or it could be roll up like weed or whatever. So then I'm like, all right, let me listen. And then that's the radio version. So I don't listen to explicit anything. I don't watch movies like that or anything like that. So then I find out it's not roll up, it's F it up. So I'm like, we gonna F up the night? I'm like, whoa, all right, calm down, Beyonce. And then she says she wants to go missing, she wants to go higher. Can I sit on top of you? Like, dude, what are you talking about right now? Why do you want to go missing? Like, in what part of a fun night are you going missing? Why? That's weird to me. Like, you want to go higher, and then this to me is like, now we got to be on drugs. It's not enough that you're already drunk. I don't get it. That's when I was like, what is happening in this song? And people are just like, yeah, we all F off the night. They're all singing it, and they're doing the dancing, and nobody's listening to the rest of the lyrics. And I'm like, this is weird. Doesn't anybody think this is weird? Have you heard that song?
I don't know. Maybe honestly,
Yeah, we're
I
not going to play it.
don't know much of her songs by the name title. That's for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Um, And like even when I was listening to, regular music, secular music, whatever you want to call it, like I said, I wasn't really like the biggest fan. So um, I don't know. It's just it's like to me is I it's not surprising. It is what it is, That's she never claimed to make wholesome music. So, you know,
Right.
if you listen to anything else, I mean, that's what people like to talk about. That's what people do. It's really not out of the ordinary. It would be out of the ordinary if she was claiming to be something else or to, act a certain way or, I mean, there's been conversations about her growing up in the church and things like that, but like,
Mhm.
I don't believe she ever came out and said she was trying to make gospel music or anything like that. So, you know, anything goes in secular music. And that's really more of a topic than, you know, just Beyonce or whatever. Is if you are a believer, then secular music isn't for you. Honestly, it's not for you. And just we built up a tolerance for um, that, and not even just secular music. There's TV shows and things that aren't good for us either, and that's everybody has to come to a point of maturity and understanding, and you kind of got to get fed up with things to where you don't want to entertain that or let that entertain you. And I could go in on a lot of reasons why I wouldn't listen to her, but honestly, I don't really listen to. I try not to listen to anything secular, and I don't even listen to some gospels, quote unquote, gospel
Yeah.
nowadays. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, so I don't think the topic is really exactly what she's saying. I think a lot more people, who claim to be believers, um, and still like to listen to that, need to kind of open their eyes to, some of the things that is going on, some of the things that she is saying, because it's not like people are hiding it. Anybody could look up lyrics, and if you listen hard enough or intently enough, you're gonna hear what you need to hear anyways. So the real problem comes with when you're to me is when you're listening to this stuff and you're not really filtering what you're consuming. You're just letting it enter your mind, and to the point where it just becomes part of your subconscious. And you're not
Yeah.
even understanding what you're taking in. You know, that's really the more dangerous thing. And I know for me, like when I was out and about doing my thing or whatever, what I thought I was doing, you mix music like that with intoxication, it's meant to lead you the wrong way, you know, and so you got to
Yeah.
be aware of those things.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that. With I mean, that's definitely another topic with the intoxication of music and things like that. We could get into that another time, but I do agree with that and the level of intoxication and things like that. So you do have to be careful because there's a lot of spirituality in music that people don't realize, whether it's Christian or secular music. There's definitely a lot of spirituality in there. So if you're worshiping God or the devil, it's going to be in there. And I don't think people realize that.
music
And
was made to glorify the Most High. So if it's not doing that, what is it doing?
yeah, I mean, I guess most of the time, because I feel like I'll be just making up dumb songs throughout the day that
Hmm.
are definitely innocuous. But I'll be, just dumb stuff about the dog to the dog to the boys. Like if David's not listening, I'll
Yeah,
be,
I'm not saying as
yeah.
everyone
So
else
I
has
think
been.
it's definitely ingrained in a lot of stuff that we do, but there is intentional music and worship and spirituality in there. So yeah, you got to be careful because you don't know what people are doing. Um, but there was something else. Oh, and with Christian music, I know that there's been some issues with I think Dante Blow. I don't know if you know who that is.
That guy.
Um,
Oh, that's
with Mav City.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he is having some issues. Even Chandler Moore is with Mav City, but they kind of separated themselves from Dante Bowe for now. I love the way they sing. Sometimes they get really wild in their music videos, and it cracks me up. I think it's like, all right, calm down, but you know, do you? If that's how you worship, if that's how you get excited, that's fine. But there's so much with worship music that is just it's off a lot of times, and unfortunately, like for me, I'll say this, like a lot of it that unless you're actively seeking out Christian music that sounds good, that's uplifting, that's fun, that's not just, boring. I'll put it like that, 90s contemporary kind of sounding. It's
Hmm.
hard to like hear motivational music that's Christian. It's hard. You got to like find it, search it out and stuff like that. And because I don't like, let's just say, for example, if I want to clean, right?
Hmm.
I want to put on some poppy music
Hmm.
because it makes you, it can get you to move and stuff like that. But like, I'm not putting on, all these weird, slowish songs. It's like to me that's boring. So I do put on like the radio and stuff like that. Stuff that's not crazy, not bad, no graphic or explicit lyrics and things like that. But even so, like sometimes Beyonce will pop up in there, and like I'll tell Alexa to play whatever,
Hmm.
and I'll be like, no, I don't like this song or whatever, and she's supposed to learn and she doesn't. But even stuff like that, like stuff just pops in there sometimes, and I'm like, what the heck? Kelly came on the other day. I'm like, how does Alexa not know this dude's been canceled? But
Hmm.
it's hard, so stuff always comes in there, and we do have to guard our hearts and minds. But even if you're not being extra vigilant, you should just hear stuff and be like, hold on, this isn't what I'm supposed to be listening to as a believer or a Christian. But I do want to bring it back to to the Beyonce thing.
Hmm.
So she has also been, so years ago, people were saying that Beyonce was stealing. Like I know they said one time some of the videos she was doing or some of the outfits she wore were like comparable to Selena. And then you remember Selena, the singer, the
Hmm.
Mexican singer. All right. And then after that, they were like making fun of that. You know, the Starbucks woman who has like the. All right. So there were like a lot of side by sides with Beyonce with this gold crown with like prongs next to the Starbucks girl, and that was like a joke. And I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. But then if you get into it a little bit more, Beyonce is copying. I don't know where Starbucks got that girl from, but she has started taking on, Beyonce anyway, has started taking on, this persona, if you want to call it, and it is Oshun. Have you heard of Oshun?
Yeah, like briefly. I haven't really
All right,
uh
let me read
delved deep
what.
into that.
Yeah, so I don't like to get too far into things like this because you already know how I feel about certain things. But Oshun is commonly called the river Orisha or goddess in the Yoruba religion and is typically associated with water, purity, fertility, love, and sensuality. So, also, she's considered one of the most powerful of all Orishas, and like other gods, she possesses human attributes such as vanity, jealousy, and spite. So when we look at even the part of the video that says denial,
Hmm.
purity, they're wearing white, then there's sexual stuff in there, that's sensuality, love, and there's water. In the video, she's like in water, plunging herself down, all this stuff. There's mad water in that video. Like I said, I've only seen part of it. But even after that poem is over and she comes out, she's wearing yellow, and she comes out and there's water like just like cascading all down as she opens these doors, and that's the gold, because it's not yellow yellow. Everybody thought that that was a reference to lemonade, and I guess it was kind of like a double entendre or whatever. But
Mhm.
it's really a shade of gold that she's wearing. She just didn't go all the way out with it and make it like a shiny gold, and that's what Oshun was wearing and stuff like that. So it seems kind of like she's like all into this goddess and god stuff, and but not our God, not the Most High. Like, and I don't know, man. It's crazy. I don't know why people don't see these videos, because I've only recently seen a couple of clips. Like I said, I haven't been watching her in years
Mhm.
because I like old Beyonce. New Beyonce is wild, and
Mhm.
I can't get down with it. But I get these people. I don't understand how they're Christian, or they believe in God, and they don't think any of this stuff is suspect or weird or creepy.
That's a whole just that's a whole nother topic. To be honest, it's such a big, it's a big topic, you know, because what it comes back to again is like, you know, how hmm, how close are you trying to get to the Most High? You know, how much are you seeking? How much are you trying to change? How much are you repentant? You know, for things that you've done, or you know, how grateful are you for the life that you've been given through faith in Him and the Savior? You know, so because you know, there's a lot of people who condone any, whether she said that or not, whether she was saying those things or not, whether she was involved in, you know, let's just keep it real. You know, she's very artistic, she's very talented, um, you know, and her talent is at a level where obviously it captivates the world, you know, and but it also captivates people who claim to, you know, follow a different path. And then it just comes down to like, you know, how serious are you about it? You know, because if you're serious, even if you're ignorant at one point about those certain things, you will begin to get revelation or conviction about, you know, things that you're doing. You know, when you first come into the faith, you get convicted about certain things that open your eyes to the fact that you need salvation, and then you go and you seek salvation. But once you get that, you need to continue in it. You need to continue to grow. You need to continue to learn. You need to continue to get rid of old habits, and you need to change your thinking. You need to um, you know, do a lot of things different. Some things happen right away, and then other things take more time. And
Hmm.
so it's just the fact of the matter. You know, for me, it's really easy for me to say, like, yeah, I'm good on all of that, to be honest. And, um, but at the same time, I'm interested in what goes into the creation of these things, of these bodies of work that we call music or music videos and things like that, because you know, I was very infatuated with music for a long time in my life, especially what we call hip hop. You know, I still like rap. I still make music of my own.
Hmm.
And so, you know, as I begin to learn about, you know, what's going on, my views towards it changed. And like you said, music is spiritual, but, you know, life is spiritual because we are spirits, you know, we
Right.
serve a spirit one way or the other. You serve a spirit, you know, and what spirit do you serve? And so there's a lot of spiritual influence, you know, just like the way that you know, I try to live my life. I try to represent the Most High. I don't always get it right. I don't always do that to the best of my ability. Um, I wish I could say different, but that's just, I guess, one, being a human, and two, um, me being not as mature as I'm hopefully going to be, next
Mhm.
year or after that. And I have to learn more and more each day, just like everybody else. But, what they say is when you were a child, you did childish things. When you grew up, you put those things
Yeah.
away. And we have to renew our minds, right? By the word. We have to be transformed by that word. So as you get closer to him, as you learn more about him, you start to look at things a little differently. And you have to have eyes to see, and you have to have ears to hear. And you can't just go out and buy that. You have to, it has to be given to you through grace.
Yeah,
Um,
you gotta ask for it.
and through dedication and through discipline and through a wanting and through
Yeah.
a seeking, a knocking. So again, it's deep. And you mentioned some things like, the Starbucks and stuff like that. We live in a pagan world. That's just what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Pagan country. And when you look at some of those things like Starbucks and their symbolism, why you'll see that it has nothing to do with the Most High. And when you look at the symbolism that, some of the symbolism that Beyonce is portraying, and some of the things that the imagery that she represents, you see it has a lot of similarities to that
Yeah.
Starbucks thing. So, I mean, it's not surprising. Again, I'm not an expert in those areas by any means, but from the little bit of things that I do research and the things that I do know about that, there's a kingdom called the Marine Kingdom, and I believe she knows about that, and Starbucks represents that, and so does a lot of the things that she does. Hence the water, hence I'm not
Yeah.
versed on what an Orisha is and who Oshun is, but I know a
Right.
little bit. And, I know enough to know that my God, my Elohim told me, not to follow those things, and I know they're not on the side that I'm on. So I see
Side.
strengthens my belief in the word, and belief in the fact that there is a lot of intentionality in the music, and that's really the main thing that I think if people were more aware of, they wouldn't be so open to some of this stuff. And then you just got to know too that not everybody who says that they are one thing are really that. So you
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
you're a Christian, but what is a Christian? Honestly, what is that?
Yeah.
Because sure, you can ask some Mormons or ask some people, and they'll consider a Mormon a Christian. People consider Catholics Christian. People consider lots of people Christians. I think there's a statistic like 70% of people in America consider themselves to be Christian. But come on,
Right.
so
Yeah.
what is that really?
It's
You-
way too broad
yeah.
of a term. And I
Mhm.
like to not be very broad when I'm talking about myself and when I'm describing myself, what I do, what I believe, what I allow in my life. I have a pretty controlled life. And I've said this to a lot of people, like I'm pretty sheltered, even though obviously bad things have happened to me throughout my life. But I generally have a pretty controlled life. Cursing, smoking, getting drunk, things like that. No, I don't watch all kinds of movies. If it's over PG-13, I'm not watching it. Everybody knows. Don't even ask me. Like, even PG-13, let me tell you, on Netflix, you're going to get an F bomb or two, and I hate it.
Gonna say like you can't even go off of those things. Honestly, you really
Yeah,
can't.
because what's the standard,
No matter if you really want to get like, let's get real about it. And I know you wanted to talk about, started out there, but it just goes so many different places. Like, come on, I have shows that that are directed and geared for my child, and TVY, and
Yeah.
but I wouldn't watch it myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I see certain things that they're doing in there, and so it really doesn't matter the rating. You gotta really understand
You gotta check it out and see what's going on in there.
the
Yeah.
system. The system that it comes from is not geared towards the salvation of your soul. That's just
No.
what it. So
And I get that when I'm putting something on or watching something, I get that it's not geared toward that. But at the very least, I just am looking for entertainment that's clean and or wholesome. And even with that, I've always watched the stuff that my kids watch. And I remember, well, first of all, some stuff I saw from other kids, like uh, SpongeBob. Never thought that that was appropriate. It was weird. Like, just some stuff was just weird. And my mom would be like, that show is phallic." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't watch enough. But I
mhm,
do know there was a show when David was younger, and I feel like little Ozzy may have been young enough to watch it too. It's called Breadwinners, and there was these two characters. I don't know what they were. They were
mhm.
like red, and everything was about a butt. Like they would like turn. Yeah, it was so weird. Like, and I kind of hate butts. It's weird. We're not gonna get into that, but anyway. They would like turn around, and the butts would like get bigger, and they'd be moving around. They'd be picking things up with their butts. It was so weird. I was like, yo, you're not watching this crap anymore. Like, why is there always a butt in it? Like, why is the butt doing so many things? It was just creepy and weird. But like, this is a TVY7 show, and
Mhm.
I don't get it. Like, it's that stuff is crazy. But I like to get back to Beyonce. I do remember, uh, even I want to say 2007 ish,
Mhm.
when she did this interview, and that's when she started talking about Sasha Fierce. You
Mhm.
remember that? And I was like, and then everyone was getting into alter egos. Like, they
Uh-huh.
were doing alter ego photo shoots. My uncle is he has a studio and a business and everything. And I remember he was doing these alter ego photo shoots. It was a housewives thing, and it looked cool, but I never really like, I never accepted, I never subscribed to it for myself. I didn't want to do that because I don't believe I have a this side and a that side. Yes, I get mad sometimes. Yes, I don't really flip out, but if I get there, it's not somebody else. That's me choosing to not fully restrain myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't like when people are like, "Oh, that wasn't me. That was somebody else." Well, if that was somebody else, then we got a problem here because is someone else inside you? Like, are you possessed? Like, what does that mean? But I
Mhm.
remember she did an interview, and shortly after that, she started saying she doesn't do interviews anymore. And she said that she has like an out of body experience. And I'm going to read a little piece of exactly what she said, a quote. "If I cut my leg, if I fall, I don't even feel it. I'm so fearless. I'm not aware of my face or my body." So when she said the part of she doesn't feel it, I get that because of adrenaline, and we've all been there. Like,
Mhm.
you hurt yourself, and you don't know, you don't even realize you're bleeding or whatever. You don't feel the pain. And then after everything calms down, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is throbbing," whatever. That all made sense. But then you're not aware of your face or your body. That's weird. I'm always aware of my face to the point where sometimes it's vain. And I don't mean like, I'm always putting makeup on or staring at myself, but like if I get a mark or if something hurts, I'm looking to make sure I don't have a mark. I don't want to fall and hurt my face or break my teeth. Like, that's a thing. And I'm like, how are you not aware of your face or your body? Like, I have boys, so the boys, they're not aware of their bodies sometimes. I will say, because it's growing at different rates. They bang into things. They're like mad close to you, and you're like, hey, hey, you're getting bigger now. You take up more space. You have to back up now because they're used to just being all up on you because they're your kid, and but now you're not little anymore, so you don't fit here. So you have to teach them these things. But as an adult, especially adult woman, you're aware of your body. Everyone's constantly making you aware. So what are you talking about now? That freaked me out when she said that. And
Mhm.
then she said some other stuff too, like she said she flips a coin And then if the coin lands on, let's just say she said heads, and she lets it enter her body. And I was like, whoa, that to me was crazy. And that's when I realized she didn't just get, because in my opinion, I thought that she got turned out by Jay-Z and was acting all crazy and wild when they started dating. But that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, this is not, she is aware of what's happening. And it's way worse than what I thought. She's not just going crazy for her boyfriend. I was like, what is going on? And that's when I was like, all right, this is pretty serious. We can't be playing Beyonce. And that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah. Like I would just say, if you are really trying to follow follow the Most High, follow the Savior, follow the Messiah, just stay away from, because the music industry is just, it's you know not what's up. And
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to be in that industry, you know, for a long time. And like I said, I'm still interested in what's going around, and hopefully maybe, one day that will change, or maybe, there's a bigger reason for why I still have an interest of what's going on in there. But I know this, that, a lot of these artists, they're smarter than we think. They know more than they let off, and they're willing to do a lot of things um,
For that fame.
for their benefit, and
Yeah.
it comes, a lot of it comes down to compromise, but there's also plans. You can't be ignorant of the enemy and the devices and the plans that he uses, the schemes, the tactics. And music is one of those things. Music is very powerful.
Hmm.
It can affect your mood without lyrics. The lyrics
Right.
can embed in your brain the melodies, the frequencies, all of that matters.
Yeah.
And music can get you to say things that you wouldn't say if you were just talking to somebody. Um, and, the power of life and death is in the tongue. So you got to be
Yeah.
careful. You really got to be careful. And you really got to start asking yourself, should I be, you know, what am I trying to do? How am I trying to live my life? And is this going to help me do that, or is it
Mm.
not help me do that? And most of the time, if you're being honest, and we're talking about the secular music industry, is not going to help you um, grow in faith and grace and love. And
Yeah.
it's just not, and it's not meant to. It's really,
Yeah.
people know that. People in charge know that. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. It's not even against Beyonce's. Beyonce is just a person. She's, she is what she is. She's a talented artist, very talented. Could never take that away from her. A great singer, you know. She can dance. She can do it all.
Yeah.
And, she was blessed with, beauty. And
Yeah.
she just chooses to use it for whatever it is she wants to use it for. But like the word says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places, rulers of darkness. And so even when you look at the other artists who are not as big as her, right, who some people would still say, a lot of people would say Beyonce is just whatever. She's just artistic. She's just doing her thing. But there's the other side of it who says no, like they feel that she's being specific, that she's doing more than just music. She's tapping into other things. And but you can even look at some of the smaller ones, and it's just like, at the end of the day, everybody's influenced by something. So it's like, what are you influenced by? Where are you getting your this inspiration from? What are you
Yeah.
creating music for? what are you looking to get from the creation of these things? So
We have to look in the intentionality, and I think obviously, like people like Beyonce, she's now like, I mean, apart from her music, she's pretty private, so she doesn't really talk about this stuff anymore. But I do remember back then she did say other things like, she wasn't able to do all the things she could do. She couldn't sing as well, and things like that. So she really talks about, elevating her talent with this spirit and whatever she wants to call it. I think she said she put up her hands one time and let the spirit come in her body and yada yada. That stuff is crazy. So if you talk like that, whether it was 10, 15, 20 years ago or if it's now, unless what you're doing has changed or your music has somehow changed and become clearer and more positive and at the very least just neutral, I could see like, all right, maybe there's been a change, but no, not really. So um, I would caution people, especially believers, to listen to lyrics when you play them. Be careful, and because even if you don't want to get that deep, because I get that too. Some people are not thinking about how this is going to help them in their life and things like that. They're just like, even though music does get people through the day, that is a help, but they're just not thinking of it that deep. But at least listen to the lyrics that you're playing around yourself, your kids, and stuff like that. Like, I'm not teaching my kids to get drunk and want to go higher and stuff like that. So sometimes songs come on, you got to turn them off. And we're going to wrap it up here. This is obviously a conversation we can continue about other artists, namely Jay-Z, and music,
you could
rap,
go.
hip hop, things like
Oh,
that.
mhm.
Hmm?
There's so many you could go into.
Yeah, so we're going to continue another time because I got some things to do, and I know you do too. But this has been a very good, productive conversation, a little informative. You guys out there, I would advise you to go read the lyrics in its entirety for the poem "Denial" by Warshan Shire,
Or not.
and no, just we'll look up the lyrics and then come back in the comments. Let me know what you think about that poem. All right. So this is Leona, handicapped and hot, and I'll see you next time.
All right. See you later.